Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to make a super easy plaid spooky tumbler. Cute and spooky. I don't like doing anything too super creepy Halloween, although I would love to decorate my yard in that stuff. I don't have a lot of shirts or items just chilling around that's creepy, gory Halloween, Yes, so what we're going to do, this is bright plaid from Glamour Tribe vinyl. We're going to get this trimmed up. We're going to use an opal glitter on top of this. So like I said, it's going to be super easy. The only thing that we need to do is get the bottom of this tumbler painted a coordinating color. And I think, let's see, since it's Halloween, let's go with orange. So I'm going to give this tumbler a real quick spray of this. Actually, you know what? The best idea would probably be to put this on, tape it off, and then do the bottom, because somehow I always scratch the bottom up while I'm adding this on. So let's do that. Let's do it. First, we're going to trim off any of the white area. I try to leave the bottom of this, so if I do use it again, the leftovers from whatever I'm using it on, then I can still see what the name of the vinyl is for y'all. So let's just cut off these around the top and side edges, and then we'll leave the bottom. That didn't get it. There we go. Okay, last thing, I'm going to mark this off. You want a little bit of that metal exposed at the top, and then mark it just above that little indent, excuse my spray paint hands, right about here. If we have to do some trimming, that's totally fine. But let's see, I want to start with my orange side because I do want to leave it as much as possible. Some of this is going to get cut off. So let's begin with our orange side, and then we will trim off the excess of the other side. Cut off a little bit that back. Remember to leave a little bit exposed at the top. Get those even, and then we can pop that exposed piece down. Please do not cause us any issues, ma'am. Okay. Once that exposed piece is down, you're going to lift this up, pull that up just a bit so you can wedge in your squeegee. And apply just a little bit of pressure. Make sure it's even pressure so you're not pushing too much down here at the bottom or too much at the top. So you don't get any bubbles. We'll make our way around until we have overlapped. Okay, so we have this excess here that we need to cut off, and I'm always way too confident in my straight line cutting, so this time I'm actually going to tape it off. Scrap vinyl. I try to use all of my little strips of scrap vinyl to do this instead of buying rolls of tape. So you can see this is where it overlaps. I'm coming over here to this side so that when I cut right here, I will be able to press those seams down after I remove that excess that is underneath. All right, we're gonna take that. We'll remove this excess over top. And then come right under here. We've got some excess down here that we're gonna have to cut off. And that is okay. We're gonna come under here and grab maybe this little piece and just put some tension on it and pull it out from under here. Press that seam back down. I'm going to take this once again and tape off the bottom, and then we will trim it as well. I'm just putting this evenly all the way around the base, same distance from the edge of the rim all the way around. If you have a tool to do this, wonderful. I do have a tool, but I realize that not everyone does have the tools, and I don't like to say, hey, you have to have this. Because there's a lot of things that you absolutely don't have to have. It may make it easier for you, yes, but you get what I'm saying. I don't like to push stuff on y'all because I know that the struggle can be real, especially with this crazy economy right now. And we gotta make what we have work, right? Okay, so once we have that trimmed off, I'm gonna make sure it looks decent all the way around. And then before I even take this off, I'm actually gonna go outside and spray paint. But we're gonna take off the sheet that I used, or that come off of our vinyl, and the excess that we cut off, and put that right down through here to protect our vinyl from getting any of that orange paint on it. And then we're going to come around down here and tape that off as well using this scrap piece that we cut off. Okay. I'm going to use Orange Slice from my Color Shot. Okay, so we have spray painted the bottom. It is still wet, but I'm going to go ahead and take this off since it's just a small little area. My Color Shot paints dry really fast, and I have never ever had an issue with my epoxy repelling from this paint. Even if I go in immediately with epoxy after it's dry. So it's always my go-to. Sometimes I have to use different ones, of course, but I love my Color Shot paints. So as soon as that's dry, we're going to come in with some epoxy and we'll get glitter on there. Okay, so I know I said after we spray painted I was going to come back and add our glitter, but first I forgot that what I wanted to do is create a spot on here so that there's an area that is white. So to do that, we are going to break out our handy giant book of vinyl. A lot of you ask how I store my vinyl. And this is a 12 by 12 scrapbook, and I've got a problem. I will admit it. I think our bleach spots are back here towards the back. So, yes. First, we want to make sure that this is going to fit over top, and yes, it will. I think all of these are about the same size. Yeah, they are. Again, we're doing this instead of spray painting because we don't have time to worry about that. Normally, I would advise not to put this directly onto the vinyl because you will have, it will trap in the kind of matteness of the vinyl. But what we're going to do is place it directly over top like so. And it's just going to brighten up this area underneath our white vinyl, so our decal stands out just a bit more. I put that right over our seam. And I just want to make sure that all of these edges are pressed down really well because I definitely don't want to show that underneath our glitter. I don't want those edges to pop up. Or to look like there's any sort of like indentation under it, I guess. Be the best way to say it. Okay. Now that we have done that, we can add on our glue. It's a brand new container with our favorite glue. So now the vinyl is from Glamour Tribe. Our white splash decal is from Gracefully Created. Our glue is from Southern Belle Glitter. And honestly, I think all three places have these same decals. I forgot that this glue had an odor whenever you first started using it. So if I have encouraged you to use the Southern Belle full glue because it's the best glue in the whole freaking world, I'm sorry that I have forgot to tell you that at first it has a pretty rancid smell. But I promise it goes away after you open it up a couple of times. You really don't want to leave it open because it will cause it to kind of get crusty and dry up on the top. So I promise that smell goes away after you do use it a couple of times. So after we have some glue on here, I'm dabbing it around so I'm getting some texture to that. We're using a 0.015 cut. I'm not concerned about any streaking or texture showing underneath. I just want to kind of get it a little textured around the edges of this decal. So we're not going to see those lines underneath. Now I'm going to go wash my brush off. Make sure you put your lid back on your amazing Southern Belle Glitter Full Glue. Wash your brush and then dry your glue on low heat setting. Okay. So True Lies from Chase Ray. And we are just going to go all in with this. It's going to allow those beautiful colors to show through. Just going to roll it a little bit to kind of flatten that glitter out. Get all areas covered. Then we'll knock off the excess. And that will show even more once we put epoxy on, because that epoxy will kind of get down into this glitter and allow those colors to really show through. First, let's take this and roll it up. I'm gonna try to flatten this out just a hair. That way, whenever we put our epoxy on, by our second layer, we should be nice and smooth. And if we do have to sand, it will be very minimal in between those first two coats. Don't forget about the bottom. And now let's grab a brush and we'll brush off any of this excess. It's kind of brushing it off, and I forgot that since the Southern Belle Full Adhesive is actually super tacky after you apply your glitter, you can varnish your glitter in. So I haven't done that in a while. Let's do that. So once we have all of our glitter on, I'm going to actually apply a good bit of pressure And we are going to get a totally different effect because we are flattening that glitter out to the surface. You can see the specks of glitter there, and it gives it a holographic effect. I'm just going to move in circles, doing this until we have all of our glitter flattened out. Let's go around this so I can get rid of that line. Now look at how cool that is. You really see it. You still have the sparkle and you have this really cool effect. So now you know how to do it either way. So I'm gonna go and apply some epoxy on this. Now it's probably actually gonna take just one coat, and then we will be back to add our decals, and I will probably add on some cute little ghosties on here or something as well. Okay, so this did not come out as I anticipated because I had the very impulse decision to rub the glitter in after I had put the decal down, knowing that I was going to be able to see the outline of the decal. Yeah. I should not do impulse things. So what we're going to do to cover that up, and yes, it does have a very thin layer of epoxy on it. No, I'm not wearing a mask. I should, but I am frustrated. I am sweating and my mask was driving me nuts. So we're going to take Carnation, a chunky glitter, and we're going to put this in the center. Okay. We're going to see if we can't make this work and ombre it out to the sides. Really going to try to keep this within the circle and then ombre out. From the edges. Or fade it out through the sides, I guess. This has not been a good week of tumbler making for me. If I could have problems with it, I have had them, man. So I've got good coverage right there in the middle, and I'm gonna see if I can't just sprinkle this so it covers that just a little bit. Okay. Got a couple spots where I can still see it. Okay, we've got it covered up, and now I feel like we need to do this. Okay, we're gonna leave this alone now. I am going to allow this to dry, epoxy it until it is smooth, and then we will be back for our decal. Okay guys, so despite our little hiccup with our bleach spot, it turned out really, really good. I love the way that this looks, and I'm glad that we kind of buffered that glitter in, because it really makes this stand out. Okay, so I have a really cool spider web cutting for the top here. We're using this TECKWRAP, let's see, colorful pearl black. I wanted something that was going to pop and kind of bring out the blacks and the dark colors in that too. I'm not sure if it's going to fit properly around our decal, but if it doesn't, that's cool. We'll try to kind of alter it a little bit, and if not, we'll just go with some cute little ghost. So let's go ahead and trim off a little piece of this. Stand my cup up, and I'm going to line this up right in the center of our bleach spot. That looks good. Good, good, good. It's such a cute little decal. Okay, so once our spider web finishes cutting, we're going to see how that looks by adding it on, and we'll go from there. Okay, we've cut this out, and the lines definitely look thicker in design space, so I have this feeling that this is not going to want to lead well. Look at how thin that is. Oh. I did cut it on the Iron On Plus setting. Sometimes when you do these thinner designs, that does help. Yeah, that didn't cut. This is going better than I anticipated. So this line up here, I'll probably hang over the top. That way I can just trim them off. It definitely looked like this wasn't going to work, but I do like the really thin lines. If I'm able to weed this whole thing without issues, then what we will do is seal the vinyl before we add on epoxy. That way we prevent any of these little lines from popping up once we add epoxy and heat. I'm not gonna have y'all watch me do this whole thing. So I'm gonna try to weed it carefully and then we'll be back. Okay. So this did weed pretty well, actually. I just have a couple things that are lost, but I think it just kind of makes it look more realistic, to be honest. And I cut some of our little spiders out so we can put a couple of them coming from the bottom. Let's see if we can get this transferred. I think our next challenge with it being so thin is going to be removing the transfer tape and actually leaving it on the cup. But again, we'll just see how it goes. I could have put this on here before I weeded it, but I didn't want to end up with the issue of leaving residue behind. Since this is a permanent vinyl, sometimes I'll get those issues if I try to reverse weed anything, so I just don't do that. And normally I would line the seam up with the back side, but I'm trying to put the highest part over top of our decal. And I'm going to go up over the top edge just so we can get rid of some of that thin stuff. Let's see if we can get this on here. Let's do it this way, actually. You stay. Look at that. That worked out really good right there. a couple of these little guys on. No, I didn't weed this all the way. I'll pull the excess off. After we get them on. That one's messed up. We'll just leave that one off. I like it. Okay, so I'm just going to go through and trim off this excess over the top, and we'll be ready for our final layer of epoxy. With all of that fine detail, I decided to use my binding potion from Adhesive Apothecary. This stuff is incredible. You can apply it with your bare hand, a glove, or a paintbrush. I chose to use a 1 or 1.5 inch firm brush to apply it. It really spreads it nice and even. It prevents any of the oils from my hand to transfer to the cup while we're rubbing this on, so I don't get any milkiness or anything with it once it's dried. I like applying it with a brush or a glove, just simply for the fact that I don't transfer anything from my hand to seal into my cup. But this stuff is really awesome. It's a great alternative to spray sealing, especially for those single color glitter cups or your printable vinyl or fine details like we have here. I allow it to dry 30 minutes to 2 hours and it's ready for epoxy. This actually turned out so good. Oh my goodness. Hey Luna. Hey baby. It turned out really good. I love our bleach spot and how it turned out. The plaid looks so good in behind there with our pastel decal from Gracefully Created. It all just come together so nicely. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this tutorial. and to have learned something new, even through our mishaps on this one. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Hot mess over here, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will answer them as quickly as possible. All materials that I have used will be listed down in the description. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.